And we're live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Multiverse episode 72. Thank you guys for showing up tonight. We got a very interesting show on the roster for you guys. But first off, we need to do our introductions for the evening. Faye might be dipping in a little bit later. Mr. James Wilson will not be here with us tonight. He's got exams and stuff to worry about coming up for him. So best of luck to you, James. So we got some interesting stuff we got to get into. But first, we got to introduce the panel here. First on the docket, the Chief of Achievements, the one true King of the North, Undead 3XVI. How are you doing, my friend? What's going on?
Oh, not too bad. Just trying to get through this sickness and get through this Monday. So let's get it.
All right. And we also have the Italian companion, the infamous Mike P. Truth. How are you doing, sir?
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Show. Your boy is back. He has not been rendered obsolete. And thank you for joining us.
All right. We also have a guest for the evening, Mr. Reverend here. How are you doing, sir? Thank you guys for showing up on the show. I've been trying to get you on for a little while. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. It's been a long month.
Yep. All right. So we will get into some of the topics for the evening, but first off, we need to ask the immortal question we ask every show. What have you guys been playing? We'll start with Rev here. What have you been playing, sir?
Was playing a lot of Rainbow Six, and then I got banned for a couple days, so that happened. I've been playing Red Faction Original on PS4.
Oh, man. Now, what'd you do to get banned?
I kept TKing TKers, and then one too many times. Or four too many times. You know what happens.
Been there, man.
It might be a week. It might be a week ban. It might not be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, too close together.
Yeah. Just remind me, we were playing Overwatch yesterday, and Nick told me he got banned on his main account. What did you do to this kid, Nick?
I can't really go. It kind of breaks our PG rule, but I kind of there's a gentleman when we were playing a ranked Smite game, and keep in mind this is in Diamond Division, so it's like top 1500. Mm-hmm. This kid decided that 5 minutes into the game we were already going to lose, so he sat running around the spawn, spamming the voice chat. So I sent him a very pleasant message via Xbox, and he promptly blocked me, reported me, and reported my whole clan, and we're all on various bans. My one friend got a 1 month ban from voice communication. So we're switching to Discord for a month. So that was fun.
Jeez.
That sounds about right.
All right.
Well, it was like somebody killed my friend, so I killed him, and it just kept going.
Continuous cycle.
Yeah.
So, all right, what you been playing, Nick? As we already asked you.
I've been taking a break from achievements. I could list off all the games 100% last week, but no one would care. I've been playing a lot of Rainbow Six Siege, Overwatch, Smite, just my usual multiplayer games, just kind of taking a break. Gonna start the Fractured But Whole tomorrow, so that'll be fun, and then Wolfenstein 2 on Friday. Somehow, somewhere, I will get that game.
All right. We're rolling on. Mike, what have you been playing?
Well, like for the past couple weeks, I've still been going pretty hard on Forza 7, still really, really enjoying the game. I think it's great. I've also been fitting in some Destiny 2 Crucible when I can, and I did pick up last week WWE 2K18. Sad to say it's pretty crashy in the universe mode. Hopefully they patch that out soon, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. And I myself have been playing a little bit of Minecraft, playing a little bit of everything here. It's been enjoyable, having a good time overall. Play some Overwatch with the guys on over the Discord, kicking the ass, taking names. So I think we'll have a good time going forward for that. So yeah, it kind of covers what I've been playing. Taking a break from the PlayStation, picking up the Switch a little bit more. Waiting for Odyssey. I'm going to wait a long time for Odyssey, so I get to really enjoy that. But that's kind of what I've been up to, at least on that front. But all right. And we'll move a little bit into our horror movie discussion. As you guys know, for the whole month, we've been doing suggestions for this glorious horrible season for horror movies, and so we were going to be doing our suggestions for horror movies that maybe a little less seen. We'll see what you guys think of them for this week. Let's see who we want to do. Let's start with Mike. What's your suggestion for the week here?
So I actually have a pair of movies that I'm recommending this week.
Oh, you're going to make up for James, so yeah, do two.
So it's actually a sort of mini-series of movies. I'm recommending Grave Encounters 1 and 2. If you haven't seen those movies, Grave Encounters 1 released in 2011, Grave Encounters 2 was 2012. They're both directed by the Vicious brothers, who are Colin Minahan and Stuart Ortiz. Basically what these movies are, it's kind of like their own spin on kind of like the found footage subgenre in horror movies. And, it's something that's really overused, but I think it's a fresh concept. Basically what Grave Encounters 1 consists of is there's a team of paranormal investigators. Like, if you ever seen, like, Ghost Adventures, or there's another show on Sci-Fi that's something similar to that, that's kind of like the premise, where they investigate this mental hospital to try to debunk it on it. And, of course, all this crap goes on. Crap hits the fan. And one of the unique things in the movie is that the actual mental asylum actually changes form around them so that they can never really escape from it. Mm-hmm. So that's the premise of the first one. The second one was not as good. It's still entertaining, though. The point of the second one is you have a team of film students at some university in California, and they basically go back to that same mental hospital to prove that the events of the first film really did happen, that it wasn't a hoax, as everybody leads it to believe. So, I mean, they're certainly not the greatest horror movies ever made, but they are really entertaining. So I would highly recommend them both. Grave Encounters 1 and 2.
All right. So let's ask our guest here. I didn't know if you had something for the group here, but what's your suggestion, if you have any, Rev?
Not really a horror movie fan, but two that probably everybody's already seen, I guess, and Skeleton Key. Sorry, think of Diablo for some reason, and Silent Hill. It's two of the best I've seen anyway. And Desperation from Stephen King. That's a good one too.
Oh, they're pretty good.
Most people have seen them, so I don't really need to explain.
No, good. Just give like a short little 20-second. I think I've seen Desperation, but I don't remember Skeleton King. Not off the top of my head.
Skeleton Key. Yeah, Skeleton Key. It's what's her name? I can't remember the girl's name. It's a really popular one. It's this blonde chick, and she's in this house where she's caring for this old man, and he's like completely immobile in like a chair and everything. Can't talk or eat or anything by himself, and it's his wife, quote unquote, that owns the house and everything. And well, it goes pretty south pretty quickly. She finds a room she's not supposed to. That's old skeletons in the closet kind of idea, really, is how it starts off, at least.
All right. Yeah, I'd never heard of that one before. I'll check that one out. All right, Nick, any suggestions?
Actually, I got two. Actually, these are movies I watched on the week. I actually watched on the last weekend. Not exactly rare, and it's funny because Mike's actually talking about it in the chat right now. I watched Babadook, which was really, really good.
Yes.
And I also watched It, the new one. I'm not going to call it the new one, but whatever you want to call it. I watched that one, and I'm not going to lie, it was a lot more terrifying than the original, and it's also a lot more terrifying for me because I'm like, I live right by that part of town. I'm not going to lie, when I drove to work, I was paranoid for a couple days after watching that film. It was really well done, and what I really liked about it is I'm not a huge, gore horror fan. per se. I like more of the psychological horror. And I really like that movie because it really gets under your skin after a while. You start getting really paranoid for the kids. And it eats away at you. And like that whole scene at the lake where they're all like swimming in the lake, I'm sitting there like hyperventilating, going, oh God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And then nothing happened. And I was like, God damn it. And I just think it was a really well-directed and well-written film. And if you haven't seen it already, I'm sure tons of people have seen it. But if you haven't given it a chance yet, it's really, really well worth it.
Yeah. All right.
Look at the lake scene. Sound like a bad dubstep song. When's the beat gonna drop? When's it gonna drop? Oh, nope.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I saw that when it came out. It was a good movie. Good times. So, all right. And so for mine, this one actually, I was watching Hellraiser over the last little bit there, and so I thought of I was checking out my old buddy Clive Barker here, and so I went with his lesser known, one of his lesser known movies. I was thinking about doing Candyman this week. I'm not feeling it. So this week I wanted to talk about Nightbreed. This other, like, it's like his passion project. It's so weird because he loves this little franchise he's built. It's kind of like Todd McFarlane and Spawn, where he just won't stop. he will not stop until everyone loves it. So it's kind of like that. The basic premise is it's basically X-Men for monsters. Let's just go with that. It's X-Men for monsters, and it's such a weird little plot. I hadn't seen it in a little while, but it's something about like there's this guy and he's having nightmares and he thinks he's a serial killer. He thinks there's something wrong with him. Keeps having dreams of monsters and these he keeps dreaming of monsters and whether or not he's seeing the psychiatrist. And the psychiatrist basically is like, oh, yeah, you might be a little bit crazy, but we're going to work through it. Turns out the psychiatrist is a psycho killer, a serial killer called Buttonface. And he actually ends up blaming the guy. And he actually uses him because he's a psychologist. Psychiatrist. He's able to say, like, oh, man, now this guy's insane. I reported him to the cops. It's like he uses him as like his it's basically just as an excuse, his scapegoat for all the murders. And so, but like the guy runs away and finds out all the monsters and stuff that in his dreams were real, and like they're a part of this city called like Meridian. And it's this, and it turns out like he's like a chosen one kind of thing. It's very, very weird, but it's pretty good. It's actually definitely worth a watch. It's a little less. It's kind of like that horror genre where it's not the goal of the thing is not to scare you as much as it is like this is a slightly darker concept. It's a fun little movie to watch, and it comes on my recommended list. It's a good time. I've had good times watching it over the years. So, yeah. So that's my suggestion for this week. So, all right. So moving into some of our other main topics for the evening. First on the list is something that happened over the weekend. Let's talk about NeoGaf. So, NeoGaf has bit the dust. Tyler Malka, he was the owner technically, but also known as Evil Lore, has been accused of more sexual rape allegations and all that kind of good stuff that it's been hitting the industry pretty hard lately, and it's not looking pretty for him right now. In a show of solidarity with the accuser, I think everyone but one of the admins has stepped down, and he's the only one left. And so, the website's been going off and on. I don't know if it's currently available right now. I can't imagine how much longer it's going to be available, but we'll see. Out of the group here, anybody actually cared about NeoGaf before any of this, or at all?
Actually, I used to use NeoGaf back like 360 era. That's actually where I used to get a fair amount of my gaming stuff. But after like I started actually taking an interest in social media and stuff, I dropped off GAF. I'm pretty sure I got banned too. I can't remember.
I never really went on it too much. I mean, if something came up on my Twitter feed that seemed interesting and it happened to be on GAF, I would go to it. But I would spend maybe 5 minutes there, and I said to myself, yeah, I could see why I don't go to this site.
Yeah.
Kind of like old IGN, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try to read the walkthroughs with all the equal signs and everything.
Yeah. I ended up, I remember in 2014 I got approved to join NeoGaf, and like I forgot my sign-in info, and I just never felt the urge ever to do it. So I was like, well, I'm good. Yeah, that I never really got into the whole NeoGaf thing, but the only cool thing I really cared about were the absolute next level GIF usage. There's some of the best GIFs you could find on the internet. Those guys knew how to do that. But then whenever Twitter integrated GIFs, it was like, no, I don't need that anymore. I'm good. So yeah, I don't know. But the fact, and I think the bigger part of the story, honestly, is probably the fact that so many people have come out now and just totally ragged on NeoGaf. Like I think Mikey Barra had the big one saying it's finally good that like the things that like the websites that deserve to burn.
No. That came.
That's not correct.
No, that's he came out and said that was about the New York Yankees losing the baseball game. That had nothing to do with NeoGaf. He clarified that. But no, there was a ton of people.
Just a little message, man. Just a little message.
Yeah, so, somebody probably said like, "You clarify this, Mike."
Yeah.
My favorite one was from Cliff Blazinski. He quoted a tweet of his from 2014 where he said that the owner was an evil POS and that he would eventually burn for it. And Cliff retweeted it and went, "Wow, future comes at you fast." But no, yeah. It's been a weird thing because a lot of the people that I see, like have been some people in my feed mourning NeoGaf as a loss. And a lot of those people, I'm not going to say ill of them, but they are of the fanboy variety. But it's generally been, since NeoGaf's been closed, has been celebrated by developers. Most developers have said it's been nice that it's gone. And it's been such a negative space for so long. It was just a breeding ground for, I'm not going to say negative opinions or wrong opinions, but definitely not positive. It wasn't always a positive influence on the industry, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know that. And I don't know. It sucks because we had such a big place and such a lot of good people there, but still, I don't know. It needed to happen. And that's the nature of the internet. Things change, people move on, and I felt like this is one of those things where it's kind of like, yeah, it's done, and we're all gonna kind of move on from that now.
See, you know what? I thought NeoGaf was gonna implode, but I did not think it was gonna implode like this.
Yeah,
really ugly, unfortunate situation. The way that it all went down.
There's a lot of those unfolding right now, and I feel like the next couple of weeks it's only going to get worse.
I was wondering the same thing, like who's going to be the next person from whatever company to come out next.
And an interesting thing, I was reading a figure. It was posted on, I can't remember the site that cited it, but it was a reliable source, that major studios, like we're talking EA, Activision, have cut, there's been 38 developers from various positions have been cut for unknown reasons.
Ooh.
So are we cutting people out because we don't need them, or are we cutting out people because eventually Dirty Laundry is going to get aired? It's becoming an interesting situation.
Yeah.
Could be a bit of both.
Yeah. That's definitely a big issue. I mean, it's also a lot easier if you just come out and you say, like, okay, yeah, this guy was a dick. We found out, but we already got rid of him, so you can't be mad.
Well,
okay.
The interesting thing that's kind of going on with like this whole situation, like you have the Ballard thing with Naughty Dog and all this, and companies are kind of like pinching together and hoping for the best that, you know, they're not next or anything along those lines. But brings up such an interesting cultural thing with the gaming community. I think it was Cal that brought it up on Tick Podcast on Fridays. You know, gamers, as a general rule of thumb, we're all kind of like a bunch of nerds, and there are a lot of us that are, you know, socially inept. And you add, you know, power and money into that context, and it's not surprising to see people get corrupted and morally spun around in it. And it's unfortunate, but it really shouldn't be as surprising as it is. That's right. I'm actually glad that you brought up the Dave Ballard thing. We actually do have an update on that story for you guys. It goes for those of you who are paying attention. So, pulling up the tweet now. Where is it? Oh, you said it to me earlier. There it is. All right, so David Ballard, for those of you who are unfamiliar, this is the whole Naughty Dog sexual allegation deal that's been going on as well. So Dave Ballard, to catch you up to speed, this is him saying he made a claim that in 2015 he was sexually harassed by a team lead over at Naughty Dog. Since then, Naughty Dog made a statement saying, we didn't see anything, and we didn't get a report. And then since then, Jason Schreier came out with a little article kind of saying, like, yeah, stuff happening, but at least other people were aware something was going on, but maybe not necessarily, you know, sexual harassment. So since then, we've been waiting for about, a week and a half, 2 weeks now, and Dave Ballard finally made a response to that, and he said, quote, "Thank you everyone who has reached out with love, support, and questions. I appreciate you guys believing in me. For people's safety, I will not publicly name the persons involved. I gave the name of the individual who sexually harassed me to SCEA, or now Sony Interactive Entertainment Human Resources, and it was their responsibility to pursue the appropriate course of actions. Federal and state discrimination claim timelines have expired for my case, therefore no legal action can be made. My hope is that this account of my experience gives others awareness about sexual harassment in the place and the ability to not stay silent. I also hope to heal from all this and regain my dignity and respect." Since then, I'll ask you guys, what do you guys think of this particular statement? Does this sound legit? Does this bring up any questions? What's the deal?
I mean, I want to think that it's legit. I'm trusting where I really don't think he's making this situation up. And one of the things that kind of disturbed me from some people about the whole Dave Ballard situation is that there were some people going, well, he's a guy. How could he get sexually assaulted? He's a guy. And I think that's really ignorant. You know, it could happen to everybody. And I commend him from coming out and bringing more awareness to it. So.
I think it could happen to anybody. It happened to Terry Crews. Actually, he posted that a couple days ago.
Yeah, exactly.
About that. Yeah, I mean, same with the military. That happens a lot more often way more often than it should. Or.
Yeah, that's right. And it's, I don't know. Something about it seems kind of sketchy to me. I don't know. Because I started this off. Go ahead, Nick.
The thing that kind of screams fishy to me, and not against Ballard, is there was an article that detailed that he was going to go to lawyers to see what his next step should be. And it sounds like he sat down with Sony's human resources, and he supplied all the information and all the things he had. And it's not being held, like there's criminally nothing they can do about it. But it also gives me a wrong feeling in my stomach is the fact that it's now in Sony's HR hands, which mishandled the whole incident in the first place. So I really don't think this is resolved. This was more them giving him lip service of, we'll do something about this, and they most likely won't. And whoever this was that did this sexual harassment or anything else, karma will come around and get them. They'll either do it again and get caught or whatever, but it shouldn't be the case. If Ballard said this is the person that does it, HR should pull whoever that person is and work through the steps of dealing with it and everything else. But I just don't feel like it's resolved properly. I feel like it was half done, and it just seems muddy to me. And the fact that he didn't release the name makes me think Sony went, look, we're going to look into this, but you can't say anything about this to anyone, because it sounds honestly like it's someone we'd know. Like if Ballard came out and said who this person is, it's someone that people would know. And that's unnerving.
C-level.
Yeah.
Sounds like C-level the way you're describing that.
Yeah. My thing is, I'm taking a look at it, and it's just like, the thing that raised the big one, he's saying that, like, oh, well, it's already gone past, like a not a statute of limitations, but something similar to that. Oh, it's already expired with the federal and state government. I'm like, what?
It depends. Like, it depends. This goes back to when we were talking about this on last week's podcast. It was never displayed, like, sexual harassment can be filed under, calling someone homosexual. I try to word this without using derogatory language. That can be filed as sexual harassment. They never said, it's not like Druckmann came up and grabbed him by the, it's, but like that, it could be a variety of things. That was never clarified, and there's so much unanswered. And like, if he was sexually assaulted, like someone did grab him by the junk, there's no statute of limitations on that. I think statute of limitations on sexual assault's like 15 years. So it must have been more verbal harassment than anything else, because as we know, verbal harassment and online harassment laws are very loose per se. So it's really hard to nail. It's really hard to nail that down, which is unfortunate, but that's just the way it is at this point in time.
And like that's the thing too. Like I'm just sitting here like, okay, if harassment really went down, I mean, they were going after Bill Cosby for something that happened 40 years ago, and they can't get something that happened 2 years ago. Like I'm just like, this doesn't sound right to me. To say, oh yeah, my options aren't there. Like
I'm more concerned. Like I'm once again not accusing him of absolutely anything. I just wonder, with how his statement came out and everything else, I just wonder if Sony gave him a better contract offer again. Instead of giving him 20 grand, give him 40 grand, and he went, well, I haven't worked in 17 months, so I'll take it. And he released a blanket statement that pretty much absolves anyone from any guilt. It just leaves a rotten feeling in my stomach. I just feel like this wasn't solved, but at least other people in the industry can draw from it, and hopefully other people will come out and more dirt will get shoved out, hopefully, from the industry.
Yeah. Hopefully. Anyway, actually on to some other news that's also interesting. So Capcom apparently is not doing too hot. So basically, for what I'm seeing here, there is a lot of talk that Capcom is, like I said, not doing too hot. That they're kind of in dire straits lately, and there's the word on the street is they're open to a buyout. So this is interesting. So first of all, who thinks Capcom's even relevant in this day and age? I wanted to ask that question honestly to the people, not only people listening to the show or that kind of stuff, but people in the panel. I want to know, do you think Capcom's even relevant at this day and age? Like a nostalgia trip for people?
I think so, because of how relevant they were back then, and it's still pretty revolutionary at the beginning, and you never know where that could go. Because like with it might end up like IO Interactive. They're gonna be getting people saying they get it bought out, and then they just end up making their own company. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I'm going to go the middle round. I'm going to say semi-relevant, because they've put out stuff like Street Fighter V and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite that have pretty much bombed, and then they've put out Resident Evil 7, which was amazing. So it's like, I don't know. It's like if you buy Capcom, it's like you're getting good Capcom and you're getting bad Capcom. So
yeah. I mean, What do you think about this, Nick?
See, the thing is as it comes from a game perspective, Resident Evil 7 was a fantastic game, but they did not even come close financially to where they were supposed to hit with that game. Resident Evil 6 sold double of what 7 did, which is heartbreaking and disheartening to all ends. But Capcom really hasn't made a really super successful game this generation. Street Fighter V did get better, but it's still one of the lowest selling Street Fighter titles that was ever released, I believe. So the question becomes, is it Capcom's upper heads that are horrible at making decisions? Are their games just not good anymore? It remains to be seen. But as far as like buying out Capcom, I think just with all their old IPs alone, if you could buy up the company and get all their old IPs, I'm talking like Dino Crisis and those kind of things, and you start, shoveling money into them, I think they could make good games, and they could be a good studio for whoever picks them up. But however, it's also on the flip side too, is they have not been doing a lot of things right lately, and it could be a money hole if someone does invest in them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. I don't know. I just don't.
Now the big question
Capcom
becomes:
is
the big question becomes: is Microsoft going to double down and bite the bullet and actually pick up a studio? Because we're now in this scenario where Phil's sitting with Microsoft bigwigs now. So if they're saying because if you are naive, if you don't think Microsoft's first party is one of the most talked about and bugged on things on social media, there's no way that Xbox heads are not aware of this, as much as Greenberg and Loftus may disagree with that current situation. It might be a smart move for them to pick up Capcom. Like, hell, if Microsoft sit there, bought up Capcom, and all of a sudden start releasing Capcom's games as PC and Xbox only games, that'd be devastating for a lot of people. That would...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of too.
Like, if all of a sudden the next Street Fighter is an Xbox exclusive, then, like, what is life, right? Like, I don't really care if
report about that too.
Yeah. Like, I don't care if they buy them up exclusively or not. The thing is that people can't get mad if Microsoft dumps the money. It's the same thing as people can't get mad if Sony drops the money on them. I see it more Sony would drop the money on Capcom than necessarily Xbox would. But either way, like, I don't want to see Capcom eat dirt because, like, they hit, in my opinion, Dead Rising 4 was not great. But that series doesn't have to be as mediocre as it is, and Resident Evil 7 was fantastic. There's no reason that
series...
Dead Rising
2 was amazing.
Yeah. Like, there's no reason these franchises should die for no reason. I do not believe that Capcom will go to dirt without something.
Well, if Xbox buys them, I can tell you probably Street Fighter's going to be gone because they have Killer Instinct. That's the only bad downside if they buy them.
Yeah,
I don't know about that, actually.
That can go either way, too.
I think if Microsoft bought all of Capcom's IPs, they might bury Killer Instinct for Street Fighter. Street Fighter is a much bigger name.
Especially...
well, you never know, though. They could do a crossover that way, too, though.
Yeah,
because they would be able to. So that could go either way. But
By the way,
PlayStation bought them...
I want to throw this out there. This is just a completely random thing. There's a big Capcom sale right now on Xbox. So put together the dots.
They know already.
No, I'm just looking at them right now. They got what else is there? Some of the games they have on here. The whole Dead Rising sale and the whole Resident Evil sale.
It's on PlayStation too, I believe.
Yeah, they had.
They already knew. Yeah.
But yeah. So they. By the way, if anybody cares, they got Dead Rising 4. Let's see, Dead Rising 4 is... I think I'm looking at the wrong one, aren't I? Yeah, Dead Rising 4 is $16.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's when you know it's bad.
Yeah, they got Dead Rising 3, the Everything Edition, for $7.50.
Did this sale just go live, or did I miss this last week? Like,
this just happened today.
Okay, good. So I'll be paid.
This just happened, so that's why I'm throwing it out there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. They got a bunch of stuff. But yeah, they also got Resident Evil on sale too, so so that's always cool.
Yeah, that's the one.
So yeah, that's kind of what's been going on. I don't know about Capcom. I personally think it's a waste of time. I think the studio itself is dead. Like, they're not putting out anything. Like, it's just the only thing they got is Monster Hunter, and that's pretty much it. That's the only franchise anybody really cares about anymore. Capcom has, for sake of a better term, stood on the corner a bit too long, going to the highest bidder. They are like, okay, the Street Fighter thing, yeah, and whoever's got the most money, I'm in. That's basically been their whole. I never got the feeling they were in about quality anymore, and it's really been showing for a long, long time. Resident Evil 7 probably being the only one that was different, which is also on sale for $30. Shameless plug. But yeah, it's kind of like it's a very tough situation, honestly. I want them to be okay. But at the same time, I feel like that's a lot of nostalgia from other people sinking in. I think the studio itself should be buried, but the IPs divvied out to people who are going to use them. Honestly, I think the best person that could possibly pick them up would be Nintendo. Nintendo wants those a little more...
focus on Monster Hunter and everything, yeah.
Yeah, you focus on Monster Hunter. You got all the little old Capcom characters now. You have absolute access to... you have all these little things you could really work off of.
Yeah, for the Switch, that could go very well.
Yeah, and you get those little more mature IPs. You own them.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about creating your own.
Something you'd see interesting from Nintendo.
Yeah.
You imagine if all of a sudden Nintendo buys up Nintendo buys up Capcom, all of a sudden if you want to play Dino Crisis, the new one, you have to buy a Switch? My God.
Or like the new Resident Evil 8, only on Switch. That would be terrible, but amazing all at the same time.
It's true.
Could be interesting. I think that's the way to say it.
Yeah.
That could be profitable for both of them.
Yeah. Could be.
If they'd rather do like a merger rather than a buyout, that can make a big difference on both sides of whoever buys them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Use that
Switch
Switch money.
The bad ones, keep the good ones, Yeah.
Yeah. And it could work.
That's how a lot of companies are going. Because, I mean, what is it, T-Mobile and Sprint trying to do the same thing? Kind of same thing like that?
Actually, it'd be really smart if Nintendo treated it kind of like them as a second party, but like with a little more control. Kind of like how Sega is now, where Sega's kind of sitting in the background. Hey, we're publishing a few things here and there, but basically you use them as your third party. You're outside of your console distinction. So you get like you're getting in good with Capcom, and Nintendo's technically footing the bill for all their games. And you keep the Capcom name, and but it's Nintendo quality. Nintendo money pushing it out, so Nintendo's making money off of the Xbox and the PlayStation on the side. But then, every so often they get that one really good game, and you make sure that thing's exclusive to the Switch. so
kind of like what Sony's trying to do with that other, like Sony's trying to do. They said kind of like that. I'm guessing they said they were going to try and make like a third-party kind of thing. It's not Sony, but it is. Really complicated the explanation, but.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, where they were making that indie studio, so they could work on everything else too. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know what you were going for.
I don't know what that studio was even called, but
nah, no one really cares what it was called.
Yeah, it didn't last very long.
Nah. So, anything else you guys want to talk about tonight? We've just covered almost everything. What do we got? Oh yeah. By the way, for those of you that care. OG Xbox One compatibility is coming out tomorrow.
Finally.
Yawn.
Waiting on that since the Xbox One originally came out.
Yeah.
They need to go to 360 full 360 compatibility soon. They're getting close.
I had said on Twitter today the only game they need to put on that is Midway Arcade Treasures 2 so I can play Primal Rage and I'll be totally happy.
No, man, we gotta have Turok, bro. The original one. Game was amazing. Meat fountains everywhere.
Not gonna lie, there were only 2 games I cared about, and they put both of them on there. So I was like, "Oh, I'm good."
Aren't you lucky?
And it was Prince of Persia
and Fusion Frenzy.
OG.
We know.
And Fusion Frenzy.
Oh yeah.
They really got to
get
add
that game. I
online.
need to start playing that again. They need to add it. They need to make it 3. Is what they need to do. Because that game was amazing.
Fusion Frenzy.
Waiting on that Army of Dead. Yeah.
Oh God, Fusion Frenzy. I remember the first time I saw Fusion Frenzy. I remember the first time I went to go see my my cousin, who actually now works at Epic. Side thing. I found that out like maybe 2 months ago. I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." But yeah, I went to go my cousin's. Yeah, well, I went. I was going to my cousin's house, and I was maybe this was 2002, 2003. So I was maybe a little less, maybe 9 years old. And I went over and I saw he had an original Xbox, and he had a Knights of the Old Republic, which I was too young to play, and the other game was Fusion Frenzy, and I totally got absorbed in Fusion Frenzy. Loved it. It made me love party games, and so I started playing a lot of Mario Party and games like that. I had a good time playing those, and I still hold them in high regard. But oh my gosh, Fusion Frenzy is a game after my own heart. It was excellent, and that was the only original Xbox game I wanted. What's up?
Yeah, my whole family, we used to play that all the time.
Oh man.
The only game I could get my mom to ever play.
Oh man, it's crazy.
And Halo, but she'd walk backwards staring at the ceiling and fall off a cliff, so that happened. Modern Warfare 2. Hey mom, come play with me. She ended up actually killing me while falling off the cliff. Like just randomly pressing buttons and see what happens. Kind of like I used to play wrestling.
By the way, updates. As you guys know, we're big What Remains of Edith Finch fans. It's currently on sale for $15.99. So go pick that up. Dope.
Well, why don't we talk about the thumbnail? Talk about Wolfenstein while we're at it.
Yes, we're getting into that right now. All right, so Wolfenstein, baby, it's Wolfenstein week, man. We're getting on it. It's time to lace up those Nazi killing boots. We're about to march. It's gonna be nice.
So we're doing 4.5 days.
Oh my god. We're talking like we're less than 100 hours away, guys. We're that close.
Yeah, bro.
We're right there. All right. So
I'm trying to get it the day. I'm be able to get it pre-order the day before it comes out.
Man, I pre-ordered months ago. I've been ready. I have been waiting for this. There's only a handful of games I normally don't pre-order that far in advance, but like games where I know where it was already a lost cause, where it was like no matter, even if the game's horrible and broken, I was still gonna get it. Like Fallout and Wolfenstein. That's pretty much it. So
yeah,
I was like,
I was about to say, it sounds like Bethesda.
yeah.
I'm excited about like 3 games coming out soon, like Wolfenstein, Need for Speed, and Far Cry 5. That's like the only 3 games I want coming out lately.
Oh boy.
Leading into the next year at least. That's it. I know that it's good or bad.
Right. What about you guys? What are you guys picking up? You want? All right. So yeah. Let me rephrase this question. So Friday is D-Day for 4 different games. We got Mario Odyssey,
Wolfenstein, Odyssey,
Wolfenstein, Assassin's Creed Origins.
And what else was it?
There's one other one.
What's the poor 4th game?
Hang on, I got a list
That's
here.
bad.
Give me a second.
Oh.
That's bad. Like we already know the game we can't remember is doomed.
This is Tomb Raider on Fallout again.
What is it?
Let's see. I got the pre-order sheet here. Let me see if it's on here. Let's see. August, November. No, I always see those three. I think that's it.
I'm gonna pull up on here. I know there's another one. There's another one that's coming out.
I don't know. I can't think of it.
It's probably a nobody game.
That's probably why it's not on that list, because that was the GameStop Proto list I was looking at.
Oh boy.
Why do I think it's Hunter Call of the Wild?
No, that's already out.
That's already out?
That's been on the Xbox store
All
for a
right,
while.
27. I guess it is only those three. I feel like there was another one. Like
I'm Googling it. Let's see what happens.
I'm looking
there
up
probably was one, but they delayed it. They're like, nope, we ain't doing
I
it.
would delete that out quickly. Dude, go over here. Probably Bubsy the Woolly Strikes Back. Like it's not...
Right. Let's see. Oh, wrong button.
I can't remember.
Nope, I see. I might have it here.
I swear there was something else coming out.
24, 25. Sword Art Online?
Nah, that doesn't
I
matter.
see Sword Art Online comes out on that day too, but that's the only other one I can see.
Yeah.
PS4.
Irrelevant.
Yeah, I don't see anybody else even on there.
Yeah. All right. Well. Anyway, it's not too bad. So. Anyway, I want to play Wolfenstein so bad. It's gonna be. Machine Games did an excellent job with Wolfenstein: The New Order. That was an excellent game. And then the Old Blood as a follow-up. Oh my gosh, that was excellent.
Yeah, so like in the next 4 days, anybody that's buying Wolfenstein 2 needs to play the Old Blood, then the New Order, and then buy Wolfenstein 2
yes.
in that order.
Yeah, you got 2 games to beat before. You got less than a week.
Well, I don't know if you can really call the Old Blood a game. I mean, it literally took me about 6 hours to beat it the second time on like Uber. So I mean, it's not that long of a game. Just
it's not that
enough.
long, but it's fun. Like
it is.
Matters.
It's like you think Call of Duty does good zombies. You haven't seen anything.
Oh baby, it's gonna be fun. It was fun because I played Old Blood not knowing they were gonna go to the zombie route. I just didn't come across myself.
Oh,
it just didn't come up to me.
Yeah, you're like
Half
playing, they're like, oh, look,
hit.
green stuff coming out the ground.
Yeah.
Wait, that guy's dead. Oh. No, he's not.
Yeah.
Why is that guy on fire?
Yeah. It's fun, man. I can't wait for Wolfenstein.
That was the first thing I said when I saw a zombie. Why is that guy on fire? Isn't he just in the bed dead? Didn't she just kill that guy? I think that was what it was the first time. Wasn't that what it was? The guy in the bed? Because you gotta go stay at the girl or whatever. I think.
I forgot that part.
I don't know, I have to play it again. I have to play it again.
We got time.
We installed a 50 gigabyte Old Blood. Oh, I can do it. I've beaten New Order 3 times.
Yeah. Good
like
stuff,
an Uber
man.
run, I've got like the first few levels. I barely beat the first level on Uber. It's that hard.
Oh boy. What about you, Mike? Playing that? We're gonna play Wolfenstein beforehand.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to. So the order is Old Blood, then the New Order, then Part 2, right?
Yeah.
All right.
They gotta go old, new, and then new.
All right. So
old, new, and newer, I guess.
So
maybe that's the better way to say it.
So I'm definitely going to start that. So, but I mean,
well, the Old Blood's pretty simple.
But I mean, other than that, I'm really looking forward to Mario Odyssey, man. I love those games just because those 3D Mario games, they're always so polished. Like the controls are so tight and perfect, and they're always so much fun. They're just like a joy to. I'm basically already anointing that my game of the year.
I think Wolfenstein 2's got that for everybody else. You do you
so much.
I'm pretty sure Wolfenstein's got mine for that.
I don't even want to talk about Mario Odyssey. Nintendo just
too many bad memories, huh?
No, just Nintendo. No, I'm not going into a Nintendo rant. Not doing a Nintendo.
Kind of like Nintendo right now.
No, he's been in this love-hate relationship with Nintendo right now. So he's been going back and forth and getting that Switch.
Well, I was like, do I get a Switch and a PC or an Xbox One X and a PC? And I was like,
No, if you get a PC the way Xbox is going right now, you can play pretty much all of it on the PC anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
So
and I sit there and go, do I really want to spend $429 to play a console that only has children's games?
I don't know. Do you? That's kind of a personal question. When you, I can't answer that for you. You know you're gonna buy all the children's games though if you get it anyway. It's not like you're not gonna get them.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
It's like, oh look, they got Zoo Tycoon. Get that one.
No, all I care about is that like Dinosaur Tycoon game they got coming out. That's the only game I care about right now.
Oh, the
like,
Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Remind me of people that bought an Xbox One just for Halo 5.
Ugh, those poor guys. Those poor people.
Same with the 360. Oh look, I gotta get Halo 3, man. Like what else? No, that's it. That one racing game that came out with the 360. What was that?
Wasn't that Project Gotham Racing? Was that what came out with the 360?
I think it. You know what? I'm thinking of the one with the original Xbox. I'm thinking of the one that was with Jet Set Radio, and you got that other game with it.
That was Sega GT 2002.
Yeah, I remember that game. I still have that original copy of the half and half disc. That was a fun Jet Set Radio, man. That was fun.
Yeah.
Or, what game? What other game was it? It was one you played. You were like in the Yakuza or something like that. It was co-op. I can't remember what the game was called.
Damn it!
No, it wasn't co-op. It wasn't co-op. I'm sorry, it wasn't co-op. It might have been a Yakuza game actually. Driving cars the entire game. I remember like the last car you got like a monster truck or something. What game was that? It was a blast though. I can't remember what it was called. It was like a free game I got when we got the Xbox or something because we bought it from somebody.
Oh, Viva Pinata?
No, it was I can't remember what it was. It was you were like a Chinese. You played as a man or a woman. You chose. Well, you didn't choose. It was depending on the mission. Like the woman had the faster cars. The guy had the mainly quote unquote cars. You know. I can't remember the game.
I don't know.
It's been literally forever since I played it.
I don't know. I don't know what you're going for.
Kid.
I don't remember.
It's literally a 20-year-old game almost.
I don't know. I was a Nintendo fanboy during that generation, so I can't say anything.
Yeah, well.
Can't remember what that game was called.
All right, guys. Well, I think that covers all of our topics. Anything else you guys want to bring up before we head out of here?
Yeah, the only other thing I wanted to bring up is that apparently Microsoft has in place this minimum order policy that publishers have to fulfill in order to put games on the system. An article came out where a Japanese developer, I don't remember what the developer is, but they basically said that that's a big thing that's keeping games off of the Xbox. And if that's really the case, then Microsoft really needs to revise that policy or just remove it completely. Because that seems ridiculous.
Yeah, I've heard about it a lot.
That's easily corrected.
Yeah, Limited Run. Limited Run's been having that problem. They've been trying to get games on Xbox like that, and they refuse entirely.
See, it's kind of funny because people spent so long.
10,000.
Yeah, like people spent so long saying that Sony's been keeping the Japanese games off of Xbox. It's kind of starting to sound a little bit more like Xbox has been keeping the Japanese games off their own console.
Is he lagging for anybody else?
I can hear him. I hear him fine.
Anybody hear what you said?
Yeah, you say it sounds like with Xbox has got everyone thought that PlayStation was keeping the games off of Xbox for the Japanese titles, but turns out Xbox is the one doing it.
Out. I keep lagging out almost. I keep hearing like every time one else starts talking.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, guys, we're gonna wrap things up here, at least on that end. But yeah, kind of ending up with what Mike was talking about earlier with the limited run thing. Yeah, it's they really need to fix that policy in particular. But if my understanding is correct, isn't that only for like physical games with the order policy?
Yeah, that's what it's for. But the thing is, a lot of indie companies can't afford to make them just digital either, because that costs practically just the same amount, I'm sure, if not slightly more sometimes. That's the problem.
I'm just actually really surprised that, of all things, Cuphead does not have a physical release. That kind of blows my mind a little.
It doesn't? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's all digital.
It's
From being
all
a play
digital.
anywhere. I guess it kind of makes sense though, because it's a play anywhere. That's probably where they're going to be heading. Is most of them aren't going to have physical releases. Maybe like collectors ones a year or two down the road, maybe. That's what I can see happening at least. Like with the vinyl record and all, like how they came up with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I can see happening.
Yeah. So. All right. Also, parting funny joke. So Rockstar is coming out saying they're doubling down on single player games, which is hilarious because they haven't released any single player DLC for GTA 5 like they promised.
Well, did you read that release they did about GTA 5 single player DLC? Yeah, they basically came out today and said that they had been working on single player DLC, and what happens, they saw how much GTA Online took off, so they remanaged the resources into pumping GTA Online instead of single player.
That's new.
So basically, they're like, "Oh, we'll make the single player DLC and keep people playing longer." And then people are like, "Oh, GTA Online's a blast." They're like, "Nope, we don't need to do anything. We'll just give them free updates and keep them spending money."
It sounds a lot of companies are doing that. That's what EA is doing right now. That's what that was all about too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Games as a service, as they're referring to it as.
Yeah.
Battlefront 2, big deal right now.
Oh, is that?
What's your opinion on games as a service while talking about it?
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap things up here. We got things to do, games to play. Thank you guys for turning out as usual. Thank you so much for joining on the show, Rev. Thank you so much for everything you do for Tick. We all appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll be on another at least 5 of these. Well, 8 coming soon, practically.
All right, man. So we're going to wrap things up here, guys. Thank you guys for checking out the show. We're doing a little outros for a bit. So, Nick, where can the people find you at?
You can find me at Undead Reviews on YouTube. You can find me on Twitch under Undead3XVI. I'm going to start streaming there. I'm going to post my streaming schedule tomorrow, I believe, and what games I'm going to be playing. And yeah, you can find me on the Twitter at Undead3XVI if you want to hear some really bad video game opinions.
All right, Mike.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. You could find me on the Inner Circle at TICGN.com. Also on Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, Steam, wherever, Twitter at Mike P. The Truth.
And Rev, where can people find you at? Where can they follow you?
The Rev plays pretty much everywhere except for Twitch is the Reverend plays. But all gaming consoles, social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, it's all the Rev plays. Makes it a little bit easier.
All right.
And YouTube is
and
just the Rev plays, but it's the one with this. I need to change it to this picture.
Yep. Okay. Gotcha. So anyway, as Anchorman V2, remember to go check out our Discord chat. I'll put that link in the description for you guys, and on both Podbean and the rest of them. I'll put the link in the description for you guys to join our Discord group. Guys, Mike P. The Truth emoji. There's no excuse. It's a console launch exclusive. You gotta jump in our Discord chat.
I'm waiting for mine.
Pretty much the best.
We're gonna work on yours. We're gonna work on it. I just gotta feel inspired. I gotta have the exact moment. Like I gotta make a certain evil face.
I don't know how you do a reverend exactly.
We'll figure it out. We've done more impossible things.
You work on that.
I honestly, I need the mic emoji to be usable on Twitter because whenever I say a really, really obscure video game opinion, I need to put his face at the end of it every time.
Just save it as a picture. Make him upload the picture, and you can save it.
There we go.
But other
you make it really small. That way it looks like an emoji, or make it a transparent one kind of thing.
Yeah.
Make it a GIF. Make it a GIF doing something.
It's funny because on Twitter, the Gamer2323 has used that picture replying to me before, which is hilarious.
I was actually talking to him on Twitter, and I said something really stupid to him, and he replied with that photo. I was like, oh my god, I know that guy too.
I feel like Undead will be like, if you take just the head on his picture, that could be a good emoji right there.
Oh, he's already an emoji.
What?
No, just the head, just the face on this person.
Oh, well, I got the fur coat on there,
just the
too.
face he's making.
I got the fur coat on there, too. I gotta go for the whole bit. Yeah.
Take money.
But anyway, we're gonna head out here. So thank you guys for showing up. I appreciate everything. Remember, this is Multiverse episode 72, the greatest show on Mondays. And we are out of here, boys.